Mental Health Monday.
Mental Health Monday.
That happened in the pandemic, right? One of the things that I felt like was the kind of a pro to the pandemic, where it made us slow down to think about what are we doing? We're moving like robots.
Yeah.
And then we're wondering why things are deteriorating, relationships not working out, or we're not happy. Right, because you've just been moving like a robot.
We became professional at avoiding the issues.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. Because if it's not in my front door, I ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah.
But it's piling up in the back, in the garage, in the basement.
Yeah, but that's in the garage. That's in the basement.
Yeah, it's in the
I don't
garage.
hang out there.
Yeah, I just got to go through there once, twice, and I get to it later.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to it, but to get to it later is 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, and now you're trying to figure out where all this baggage is coming from.
Or why there's a brush fire in your basement.
Right. Or why there's a snake in the basement.
Yeah.
Or, a mouse in the basement, something like that. Lord forbid, please don't have a snake in the basement. Yeah, I'm
He said, I am fearful, Lord.
fearful of snakes. But, just, I really think, and we've been, you think about, like, just kind of how we went through school and college, we were made to be like that.
Yeah.
We were made to be robotic. Right? Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
When crisis pops up. But, again, we got to do routine maintenance on a car. If you don't change the oil for the whole lifetime of your car, guess what? You don't change the tire, change the brakes, guess what? It's not going to run.
Street story for you. Back in my days when I used to run Velvet and a whole bunch of other establishments, I used to work with a bunch of various managers and doormen in the city of DC, right? And one time, this dude was yelling because this guy hit this lady, right? Now, context, the two women was assaulting this one guy, and it started because that one guy was arguing with another guy who was with the two group of women.
Right.
So him and the guy fought twice, meaning they fought, took a break, came back and fight again, right?
Long night.
Cool, right? And then after that, the two women took it upon themselves to fight him also after he was done fighting the guy when he was just chilling, right? And they fought twice. And on the second time, which is the fourth fight, within 20 minutes, he knocked one of the ladies out.
Oh,
and one of the guys that was working with me was like, oh man, you put your hands on a woman. How could you knock her out? And I said, well, we gave this permission to happen. He's like, what do you mean? I said, no one left their establishment or their job, and no one stepped in to break it up when the first fight happened.
Right.
We watched two fights happen between two guys. Then we watch two women assault a guy, him get away, and then they assaulted him again, and he knocked one of them out. I was like, that's what group permission is.
Right.
You're complaining because somebody got knocked out, but no one ever stepped in.
Right.
With the people that I worked with or the people that were there, no one decided to step in. We all watched.
Yeah.
So I was like, the thing you're complaining about, it's not them. We're all guilty of it.
Complicit.
That's what that is.
Right. We're complicit in that.
Yeah. And that's what I observe when it comes to suicidal ideations.
Right. Right.
They're supposed to be able to have these thoughts. Them having the thoughts, to me, isn't the bad thing.
No.
How we're handling the thoughts, or them telling us, or how we're not making a space for them, or how we're happy that they're no longer an issue, that is the bigger issue.
You know that those numbers that are there are probably not even really realistic on how many people have had suicidal thoughts.
Oh, definitely. Not
Right.
even a question. People don't know how to define what is a suicidal ideation. They think a suicidal ideation is when I've become the problem, I'm a part of the number of suicidal ideation. And it's like, no, just having the thought that I wanted to take my life. This just that simple. That's the
That's it.
definition.
Yeah, I want to have a
Just
thought
I
on
had
that.
a thought.
Yeah.
Why did I have thought? No, you don't have to explain it. Just I had a thought.
Boom.
That's it. You're in the number.
Right. And the number.
You don't got to report anything. It's you're in the number.
Yeah.
You had the thought.
And then you think about how many have actually said that, like reported to the numbers, the statistics piece, but who have not said that either. It's a lot more than you think.
It's high. It's
Super high. Super
But how
high.
many people really reports numbers? And then even the scary thing is, so So you want these people to get help, right? And you want them to report when they need the help. 75% of all jobs across the U.S. can't hire someone that has those kind of thoughts. Like, if they find out you have those thoughts, they can figure out ways to let you go from the company because of those thoughts. In the government, there's government programs that they want people to come forward if they have, like, mental illnesses. But a decade ago or less than that, people were getting fired.
Yeah.
For that, and still are. There's still that old way of thinking in a lot of departments in the government.
Yeah.
So when you look at the government side, the state side, or just the ordinary side, we are built on a culture that people can't come out about what they're dealing with when it comes to mental health, because that gives jobs the opportunity to be like, all right, we need to figure out how to get rid of this person. Mm-hmm. We can't tell them we got rid of them because they kept it honest with them. We got to just find something that works and nitpick it until they want to leave. Exactly. And then you can't afford to get help.
Exactly.
So do we want to help them, or are we all just avoiding one very large liability?
And this is why I say it's political.
Yeah.
Because that's a political thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And again, when you start thinking about, you look at that, we start talking, okay, well, bring some licensed professionals in to do wellness workshops or work contract with some EAB, whatever, not EAB, but...
You mean so the companies can now have a statistical rundown of who has what and keep that in mind for the future?
It's not supposed to.
You know how many companies not supposed to, and they do a real good job of getting rid of those people later?
I know. And I know that's why some don't want to come out and say what they want to say.
They can't.
Some, may not use their insurance.
Medical benefits?
Right.
No.
And
that's why NFL players no longer go to team doctors when they have issue with their bodies, and they go to doctors outside the institution.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It shows up. I know it shows up in life insurance. Mm-hmm. They ask you those questions, things like that. And so, again, political, right? But I'm saying that I'm going back to the point of saying, like, this could be prevented if you utilize the right resources, but you don't want to, because we're not reacting to the crisis.
After you make the change that you have to make, or you're going to make on the state and government side, there's going to have to be a whole bunch of big change on the office side and the corporate side and how things are handled. It's just no. And it can't be a fine of just $50. No. We're talking about some serious stuff.
Mental Health America did a report a couple years back of mental health in the workplace, and they reported, they said 63% of all employees report workplace stress.
You see how he be dropping numbers at random places? You see what I mean? Numbers that just got dropped.
That's old.
It's old numbers. That means he has like a binder, a little Rolodex of numbers.
But
What's up?
I worked on that though. Like I years prior, before I got into like public speaking, I was like,
so you did research?
I want to be a person that
you
can
did
drop
research,
numbers.
right?
Yeah, I want to be better.
He did research without a doctorate.
Stop. So imagine what I could be doing in the doctorate program.
He said, imagine what I could do.
I'll be cooking
when I get the doctorate. Imagine.
Imagine I'm in the classroom teaching a teacher. Let me do this. Now you wrong. I'm gonna tell you about this. But no, they put that report out there, and so that's why I'm always I'm trying to get into more of the corporate spaces to do employee wellness programs, because that is a major thing. That is a major thing that comes up in my caseload. We talk about, okay, well, what type of topics that guys come in therapy for you seeing? A lot of people ask me, what do you typically see in your practice, right? Relationship.
Yeah.
Communication.
Yeah.
Issues. Sometimes traumatic background. Other one?
Little saison.
Racism, social justice type stuff that, filling that push and narrative there. Employee stress.
What's 3 pieces of advice you'd give to someone who's struggling with a suicidal ideation?
3 pieces of advice?
Yeah.
Make sure you figure out who your support network is, the ones that you can trust with that information, and they will be helpful for you to kind of help guide you through that process. Secondly, develop or reach out to maybe a crisis worker if you're in that place where you need somebody to talk to and somebody's not really following up, or you just feel alone. Reach out to a crisis worker or your therapist if you have that. And then 3, I'm struggling with 3s today. That's my number.
Maybe 2 is all you need.
I'm gonna stay with 2.
What's a piece of advice you'd give to someone who's struggling with a suicidal ideation due to betrayal?
Betrayal from Family?
expectations, family, the people around them. It'd be so simple.
That's tough one. Because I guess you have to ask the question of, okay, how do we get to this point of feeling betrayed? What was the one thing that I felt betrayed by, right? And is that something that could be fixed, right? And is it something that I need to change? Like we talked about relationships. Is that person even going to be willing to change?
Yeah.
Are they willing to be able to listen to help you process that? Or is it somebody that is resistant, right? That won't even engage with it.
Yeah.
Right. And so the camera. And so is that something that you need to, I guess kind of going back, because you asking these questions and it's super, it's loaded, but it's like I don't have that much.
But it's necessary.
But it's necessary. I don't have the context.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm having that thought and it's due to betrayal, first thing I'm going to say is, figure out how you can speak to somebody and process that.
Yeah.